Hello, happy Sunday, everybody. What an absolute pleasure it is to be back with you again. Wow, I'm just reading through the comments here, and I think kind of echoing a lot of people's thoughts and feelings that a little bit sad to be coming to the end of our first ever Changemakers convention, which I think safe to say, and I know we've still got one session left after this, so I don't want to jinx it, but I think it has been an incredible success. If you missed me on the opening of our Changemakers convention, which was yesterday, my name is Kel Spellman, and I'm so happy to be back joining you to round off this incredible weekend. I am an actor, I'm a broadcaster, and most importantly, I'm a climate activist, and share, I think, something that we all share, that is an absolute love, adoration, and appreciation for our planet, for our natural world, and for our wildlife. But we are all very aware, and that is why we have made this convention, that things need to change. There is a lot of work to be done, and we've only got a finite amount of time to do it. But I look around this chat room, and I've looked across the convention throughout the weekend, and I was filled with hope beforehand, but I've never been more buoyed and filled with hope and inspiration and motivation to go out and make a difference. Because individually, I know that you've all been working incredibly hard in your own countries and in your own space, but I can't wait to see what collectively we are able to do together. And just looking around the room now, I'm just going through and seeing people in Nigeria, seeing people in Kenya, in Sierra Leone, people here in the UK, over in Ireland. We've got Jack there from the Scouts, people over in India. I just think it goes to show that there is a lot of power here, and there are a lot of things that can be done. So I do hope that you've all got lots to take away. I hope that you've had learnt loads and you've made lots of connections along the way. Now, before we get into this final session, just some final bits of housekeeping from myself. So I'm sure you're all aware, but as with all the sessions this weekend, we are recording them. So if you don't want to be on the recording, that's absolutely fine. If you just take off your camera, I won't do that, because then that'll be pretty useless for me. Then that way that you'll be all good and we won't see you on the recording. Secondly, we've got people on the conversation. You'll see Kat, one of them, who you might see across the weekend. They are our safeguarding team. So if you have any problems, if anything pops up that you have any issues with, just go and speak to them and they will endeavour to help you. And my final kind of bit would be just to sit back and enjoy these final moments. Yannick, you've just put a message in the chat from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Thank you so much. We've got Lily in Malaysia. It's just so incredible to see, I think, that we are all on our own individual path, so to speak, coming from all different corners of the globe. But our goal is all the same. And I think that's so important to remember, that regardless of kind of where people are at, you should never look across and go, are they doing more? Should I be doing more? Focus on yourself, focus on your path. I mean, your path has brought you to this convention. So you are on the right path. And I think stick to that, and we will cross that finish line together, which hopefully is going to involve a lot of change and a lot of action. I'll ask myself the question, what have I got from the event? And it's a tough one to answer, really, because, you know, there's so much. I could probably work through a whole couple of pages to say, well, I've learned this, I've learned that. But one of the biggest things that I've got from it, and it's something that I'm always talking about, is that young people, and particularly this generation here that I'm with now, that I'm surrounded by, I firmly believe and know are going to be the one to turn things around. And I think if I could just take politicians, decision makers, big institutions and corporations, and have brought them in to this convention, I've no doubt they would have been blown away by the conversations, by the information, by the intelligence, by the passion, by the love that was on show throughout all the sessions. And if that didn't move them to want to make the change and start implementing the laws and the rules that we need to see, I don't know what will. So for me, I think that really is the biggest takeaway, because it just affirms something that I'm always talking about. And I'm sure this is something you might be all able to empathize with, that sometimes it can feel a little bit isolating, that you're kind of banging your head against the wall and thinking, is this just me? Do you know what? Am I really kind of on this uphill battle that isn't going to get anywhere? And then you have a weekend like this and you go, do you know what? We are getting somewhere. We are making progress. There is still a long way to go, but I have no doubt that we're going to get there. So that was one of the biggest takeaways for me. And actually just the fact that something that was meant to be in the UK, and I was a little bit deflated at the start of the year thinking, oh, this really unique and special coming together of people might have been taken away from us. Actually, and I hope Kat won't mind me saying this, I actually think it's turned out for the better, because we've had so many more people get involved that maybe might not have been able to join us in person. So it just goes to show as well that everything does happen for a reason, and the reason being that we've all come together to enjoy this really special weekend. So on the session, we're going to be asking a couple of questions using the Mentimeter again, which is going to be a great way to get feedback and see how you're all feeling and thinking. We're also going to be hearing from a really brilliant person called Maurice Munger. He's coming up in just a second. And then after we've heard from Maurice, I've got a little film to show you, which is a vision for the future. That is a really brilliant film. We've had a poet, Kate Tempest, record something very special for us. So we're going to enjoy that. I've also got a sneak peek to bring you of A Life on Our Planet from one of my heroes, and I'm sure a person that lots of us know and love, Sir David Attenborough. His film, his witness statement, arrives on Netflix today. So I'm going to be talking a little bit around that. I've got a little ask for you all. And then we're also going to be kind of closing the session and jumping into a speed networking session as well. Maurice, before I get to you, I wondered, and for everyone who's got their camera on, if we might be able to get a picture to mark this moment. I tried to do something on my Instagram yesterday and it didn't quite work. So I know that Matt and the team have got probably the tech to do this and screenshot it. But if you've all got your cameras on, you can just pose and give us a smile. Maybe you want to make a love heart with your hand, or I think some form of shape works well on Zoom. But we're going to try and just grab a picture of this moment. So if we all just take a couple minutes now, and we all kind of get ready, and Kat's got a camera ready, so I think we should be good to go. That's on the elephant for me. Here we go. This is the awkward moment where I'm just sat silently.
There are 5 pages of you guys, so it's going to take me a little bit longer to get pictures.
We'll pose.
Just hold your pose.
Everyone hold the pose. Kat, you've got a minute. So we good? Brilliant. Kat hopefully might find a way that we can share that, or if we actually look across the hashtag on the Changemakers 2020, those pictures will go up and then you can find yourself and share them. I'll be doing that just after. Okay, let me introduce then the brilliant Maurice Munger. Now, first of all, we owe a big thank you to Maurice from the Changemakers Convention, because he's from Kenya, and the work that he has done in bringing so many different young people, not just from his home country, Kenya, but from other countries around Africa to the Changemakers Convention has been largely down to him. So we want to say a massive thank you. And for some information around Maurice, Maurice is the founder of Youth for Community Development in Kenya. That is a youth-led organization that empowers young people and mentors brings mentors, to support young people to be productive in their communities for sustainable development and help make a difference. Not only that, Maurice is a young Green leader and a member of Green Congress for the Kenyan Party. And Maurice is also notably known to lead Youth for Our Planet Africa in pressuring governments to tackle the nature crisis and climate emergency through mobilizing over 300 young people from 25 countries in Africa to climate action. So no small feat, Maurice, and it really is a privilege, and I think you're the perfect person to be speaking in one of our closing sessions. So I'm going to hand over to you and look forward to hearing you talk.
So thank you so much for giving me this humble opportunity to talk on behalf of the young people in Africa and on behalf of the movement that is leading change, not only in Africa, but other continents in the world. And I'm just going to give a brief reflection of the sessions for the 2 days that we have been able to convene in ourselves in the virtual Changemakers Convention 2020. Let me say that I'm so happy to see young people joining us on board, and young people, not only just young people, but people who are passionate about leading change in their communities and in their countries. And again, one of my key takeaways is there's this saying that we had in one of the sessions, that there's no one path to change. People make change happen all kind of ways. So you got to find your own niche, play to your strengths, and make change happen your way. And then the last key takeaway to me is you have more power and influence than you may think originally. So we want to assure that as we proceed the way forward, that we believe in young people's power. We also believe that young people can be the solution makers of the society issues that we are facing currently. And then over the 2 days, I've been able to learn a lot of issues, especially in the social media campaigns, how to build communities, how to create, now that we have the COVID crisis, how can we create political change, how we create social campaigns that are affecting our society to lead a change, especially in our SDG number 13, climate action, in our countries and in our communities. And another key issue is that as young people, we need now to focus a lot on how to share our stories. And it's the high time that these stories that we are going to share have a meaning. And also we need to create stories that we need to create stories that are going not just to inspire other people, but also make a solution to our communities. So we have to know the medium that we are going to communicate. We also have to know our audiences, and then we also have to create messages that are very simple and easy for Cranity matters and issues to our communities. And lastly is that even though we may have some challenges because of the coronavirus crisis and pandemic issues, we believe that there is power of the social media. So if young people can be able to harness the power of social media, we can build our communities, we can solve a lot of issues that are happening currently, especially in the environmental sector. And also to add on that, we can innovate so that the ecological crisis and environmental issues that are happening can be able to be solved. And then we also need an intergenerational equity in terms of moving the way forward in our solutions, and also attaining sure that environmental issues have a sustainability towards the future generations, not just the present generation. Lastly, I thank everybody. I'm so humbled. I'm so overwhelmed by how the young people have been able to join, how people have interacted in the sessions, networking sessions, the lunchtime quizzes. I'm so happy with brilliant answers. And I think the way forward is now to make our conversations to lead a change in the communities. So we have to rethink a lot in whatever we have discussed in the 2 days. We are able to commit ourselves to the commitment that we can be able to solve the community issues, we can be able to create a change, and we have the power. And I believe that we are key to it. And we are certain that all those young, passionate people who are on board this time, we are going to make sure that also we have more sessions on such conventions, and also more sessions that are building us also in our careers, and also empowering us to move the way forward, not just in the environmental sectors, but also in our day-to-day lives. And I think now is the right time to present what we have been doing in Africa. And I'm gonna share my screen. So, no. I think cut. I think I'm having some challenges.
Okay. Do you want to, okay, have you got your presentation just ready? Because you can email it to me and I can, if you've got it quick hand, I can.
Yeah. Let me just email it. Let me just email you right
Awesome.
now.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
while Maurice sorts out the tech, I think it'd be a good time to do a poll just to kind of fill that time. So Emma's got one, and I know Kel has been really interested in hearing this from you guys. So Emma, can you launch the first question of the poll, and then we'll get Maurice's presentation for immediately after.
Real, thanks, Kat. Just message me when that's there. Yeah, so mention me if you were there at the start session, you'll know that this is a place where we can all just throw answers into this same space. So if you need it again, you'll go to menti.com. The code that you'll be looking for is 2580503. Code again if you need it. 2580503. Thank you to Samantha in Indonesia who's put that in the chat. And we are asking which sessions have been your favorite. It's been a lot. Remember as well, if there are any sessions that you did miss, they have all been recorded. So you're going to be able to go back and catch up on those sessions that might have been happening at the same time. Yes, the storytelling session and the networking sessions, I believe, have been going down an absolute treat as well. The Changemakers quiz that have been happening at lunchtime. Media and misinformation, media literacy. I think there's been a lot of kind of around how we can tell stories and best way to use our platforms and the media in the world of the online web. So I think that's been really useful for us all. Path of the Changemaker, social injustice, eco-anxiety and burnout. I was really happy to see that session personally myself, because I think it's a feeling that we would all have definitely felt and been able to empathize with, particularly within this group. So it's always nice, I think, with that, to know that you're not alone, and also to know that your feelings are valid and that they're not an anomaly. They all come from a place that I think we're all aware of and have all felt the same about too. Storytelling, lots of storytelling kind of coming through on our Mentimeter. Again, the lunchtime quiz. Didn't do too well in the quizzes, I'll be honest with you. Leading Your Way, another great session. Hackathon has come through there. Path to the Changemaker again. Social justice. The social justice chat I've actually I've heard a lot about. Unfortunately, I had to go away to work yesterday, so that's one that I'm going to catch up on. But a few people have been telling me that really was an incredible session. A lot of food for thought. And actually, if you did have the chance to sit in and take in that conversation, I believe you kind of came away with a lot. I think very moved, a little bit emotional at times, and also kind of feeling very empowered, which I think is kind of the perfect concoction of what these sessions have all been about. Lunchtime quiz again from a couple of people. The hackathons come back through. Media literacy, activism and impact. Another great session that took place. Brilliant. Okay, I think we'll move on to our next question then. So same codes again. In a few words, what have you got out of the Changemakers Convention? This was a question that I really wanted to get in there, because I think it's great to know that what you've got, and then we can build upon that when hopefully we do another one as well. Inspiration to create change. Friends. Do you know what? I think I'll echo that as well. I think to have found this community and group of people where we are all on the same path and share the same interests is a beautiful thing. New skills, new memories, new friends. Hope, inspiration, connections with like-minded people. Feeling empowered. Is there a greater feeling than feeling empowered? An overwhelming sense of hope. Could not agree more. I think when a lot of the time around this space that we talk in, it's very easy to get bogged down with overwhelming senses of negativity and sadness and maybe loss of hope. So when you have something as special as this that happen, it's all the feelings that we know that we need and really will drive us to make even more change. Faith in young people. The confidence, tools and knowledge to go out there and make a difference. Fantastic. Refreshing ideas and new perspective. Guys, I can't tell you, this is, I hope just as it is all for you as well, really filling you with immense pride and immense joy, real kind of butterflies in the stomach kind of stuff. A learned and shared experience with people, motivation to get more into campaigning, brilliant. You know, even if we all just had one major takeaway from this weekend, I think this weekend has done its job. Meeting fellow energetic young people, fantastic. A new passion and a refreshed mindset and a connection to people I've never felt before. So beautifully put. And actually, that refreshed mindset, I don't know if you were there in the first session, you'll remember that I spoke about that 2020 was kind of building up to be a real super year. And obviously that kind of had the brakes put on it due to the circumstances we find ourselves in. But I totally get that. I think from this weekend, I have this new refreshed energy and a new refreshed sense of hope and drive to actually make 2021 the super year that I know we can absolutely make it. Knowing that there are so many incredible young people making a change worldwide, it really was incredibly inspiring hearing from so many people around the world. A more in-depth understanding of things I never realized that are linked, as well as inspiration and hope, beautifully put. Laughter and friends, feeling empowered. I could literally sit here and read these for the next 5 minutes. Encouraging and humbling to hear and find out that how many young people are doing meaningful, impactful and inspiring work. Connections across the world. In a way, this convention is kind of a great metaphor for nature itself, that I don't think we realize that how intrinsically linked things are and how much we all depend on each other. That was another thing that I kind of took away from this weekend, actually. A sense of community. What a community to be a part of as well. I'll do a couple more. Confidence that I can make a difference. Absolutely. Know that. Every single one of you watching, and that's something that I've learned from listening to you all as well. You all have the ability to go out there and make that change. You already are doing that, but we can do it even more. And I think if we can take that energy and turn it into good, well, watch this space, world, is all I'll say. That youth voices are so important in changing the world step by step. Couldn't agree more. Okay, and final one. What is next on your change maker journey? So having taken this weekend, and I think like me, it might take you a couple of days just to digest and take in everything that you've learned and heard about across the weekend. But what are going to be your next steps on your change making journey? Hannah in the UK as well, community is so key, couldn't agree more. Finding local volunteer opportunities, brilliant. Thinking of new ideas, fantastic. Action. Putting ideas into action, yes. That's something I think that I could do a little bit more of as well. I always spend a lot of time going, I need to do this, could do that. And actually maybe streamlining and turning the thoughts into action is massive. Bringing my family and friends on the journey with me, beautiful stuff. To re-strategize, great word. And that's really great, actually, that you've been able to go, actually, okay, I'm going to maybe do things a little bit differently and hopefully that'll bring about more action. Do my best to influence others, beautiful. And I think, of course, we've had those sessions that have been giving us tools that will enable us to do that a little bit more. Keep it on doing what I'm doing, absolutely. We are all on the right path. So keep on wandering down that path, if not run down that path. Tackling the local waste created due to COVID-19. Yes, I think that's something we've probably all thought about across the last 6 months. So that's so brilliant that you're going to take that forward and do that, whoever it came from. It's a shame I can't say the names of these people, but if I read your message, you'll know it's you. Starting my own social media campaign and collaborating with fellow change makers. That is one of the best things that I wanted to come out of this weekend, is that we're able to link people up, whether you're in India or whether you're in Zimbabwe, you can connect and then find a way that you can work together to do things in your own communities where you are in the world. Let's all come together for the biggest change and move forward. Count me in for that. Creating a campaign at my school, fantastic stuff. Yeah, if you're at school, if you're at college, at university, that is a great space for you to go and inspire change, to bring people on board to this community, to make a change and have conversations with those who maybe necessarily before I wouldn't have had those conversations. Creating local change, inspiring young people to make change in their lives and help people recognize the human impact of climate change. Beautiful stuff. Teaching myself and people around the world how to look after the earth in years to come. Sleep, dream, and make an improvement on what I've been doing already. Create a plan with SMART goals, absolutely. I think it's important to set goals that really are kind of far off and are going to take us a while to work towards, but don't set them so far off where you've not got short-term goals. I think short-term goals is a great way to keep up momentum and also acknowledge that the work that you are doing is important and is making a massive difference. Thinking about possible action and being more proactive, stepping out and taking action, do more advocations and actions within my community. I mean, even just reading these messages, I think is a great example of what this weekend has been all about, and really is, it's just really humbling and actually very moving to see all these messages coming from you brilliant people. Safe to say the world is better for you being in it, absolutely. Talking about my passion for wildlife with friends and family. Thinking about the small solutions to big problems so that I can start to make a difference to the people I know and it can spread. Well, if this is anything to go by, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be spread around the world in change and action after this. Raising awareness to the local community from jazz. Engaging more people in the environmental conversation. Creating local change, and then hopefully that will inspire bigger change across the country. Of course it will. And connecting with this network, watching anything that I've missed, and then from there creating a strategy and plan for local activism, building my presence online and within my community so our messages reach far. Beautiful. As I say, I could probably keep reading. I'll read one more. More conscious about the environment, raising awareness and working with schools and communities to carry on this conversation and spread it as far as possible. And doing my best to influence others. So brilliant that you've all had lots of things to take away from it, and I think that is a credit to the sessions. It's a credit to the people that put on the sessions, and it's a credit to you as well, because it would be very easy to sit there, listen, and maybe, you know, not take much from it. But this just goes to show how much you've all really connected with the sessions, and how much it has resonated with your soul. And you've said, you know what, there's even more that can be done. I mean, we're doing lots already. But what a great thing to know is that there's even more that we can do. And this is just the start. Right, I believe Maurice might be ready, I think. Thank you to everyone who got involved on our Mentimeter as well. It was brilliant, that Mentimeter. Maurice, I'm going to hand back over to you, my good sir. Are your slides ready? Here we are.
Yeah, I think.
Yep, we've got you, Maurice.
Yeah, so once again, I would like to present you Youth for Planet Africa. And next slide, please. So Youth for Our Planet is a global movement, as I reckoned earlier on. And our main work is to build a community of young people who are able to make a collective action on telling the world leaders and government to take and tackle the issues that we have, such as nature crisis and climate emergency. In Africa, we have over 300 young, passionate people who are representing over 25 different countries on the continent. And we have been able to create pressure. We have run some social media campaigns. We have even organized some events, environmental events, plan strikes and protests. And we have recently signed and sent some petitions to the government to create pressure and demand action. The countries that we are in Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Kenya, South Africa, South Sudan, a couple of them. Next slide, please. So in Nigeria, we have a pool of over 20 young people who are our mobilizers in the country that they spearheaded a mass planting and growing of 6,000 trees in Nigeria. That is Ibrahim. Then we have Ashaka in Nigeria. Next slide, please. So in Zimbabwe, we have over 40 mobilizers and conducted webinars and also attended events that are geared toward pressuring the governments. Yeah. In 2019, they were able to pressure their government in a conference dubbed Galvanizing Climate Action, hashtag United Nations 74 Celebrations event. Then in 2020, they were able to conduct 2 webinars where they had a guest. They had 2 guests, and also they had their own webinar session all about discussing environmental issues and creating awareness in their countries. Next slide, please. So in Kenya, this is a very interesting country because in Kenya, where I am, we are the largest network in Africa. So we are very vibrant in matters to do environmental issues. And then we have a pool of over 199 mobilizers in my country. We also have a social Facebook page that you will see on when you log in into the Facebook page, Facebook Youth for Planet Kenya. And then we have conducted debates online. Our mobilizers, some of them have been able to be part of the tree planting and cleanup and also climate activism. These are just 2 samples of our work that we have done because of the online. Now we have shifted right now to the online digital advocacy because of the pandemic. So we have done some debates online using our WhatsApp. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So the pictures as you're seeing here, there's one that is me planting a tree during a conference that I was, yeah. Then Zambia is also a very active country. Recently, they attended an event and they voiced out their challenges, some of them citing climate change issues and plastic pollution in their country. They have conducted blogs, they have done some webinars geared towards creating awareness in their countries. Yeah. Next slide, please. Somalia has a pool of 15 young people. We have partnered with a local NGO called Somali Greenpeace Association. We have been able to conduct a meetup of young people who are able to create pressure on the rising issues that are happening in Somalia, which is deforestation. And it was a successful event. Next slide, please. Tanzania has a mobilizers of over 20 young people. mobilized to create action. They have conducted they have been able to be part of some celebration like the Earth Day 50 celebration where they did a cleanup, and also they have protested and mobilized children and young children to climate activism. Yeah, next slide please. Then we have our achievements. Basically we have achieved, and we are proud because it was not easy to mobilize 300 young people. So we see it as an achievement, and arguing that we come from different countries, using different languages. So even language was a barrier because some are francophone countries and some are anglophone countries. So it was really a challenge towards mobilizing these young people. But because we are leaders, we also experience such, and we are able to act accordingly because of passion also. So we have been able to mobilize the 300 young people with support from WWF, which I want to say thank you a lot. They have been able to give us the opportunity to attend some trainings so that we can be effective leaders on ground. So they have conducted over 5 trainings so far. There are many, but this is just a statistic, over 5 trainings. Then the main cause of Youth for Planet in African and the larger community is our 5 demands. And we are so happy that the For Nature campaign, we are one of the youth movements in drafting the 12 priorities in the open letter and manifesto. Yeah, and we are part of the signatories, and we are in support for Nature campaign. Yeah, next slide please. Next slide please, Matt.
Sorry, I flashed past it because it was just a thank you slide. But so I think we're over to you again, Cal.
Yeah.
Maurice?
Yeah.
Was that all? Thank you. I think we had your last slide. Was it the thank you slide?
Yeah, it's a thank you slide. So we are so thankful for everyone who has been able to be part of us, and we also wish to continue doing our work, and we are welcoming any person who wants to come to Africa, and especially to my country, Kenya. We are so welcoming, and other states in Africa. And we believe in the coming years, as we are geared towards UNEA 5 that is going to happen in Nairobi. I think I will be part of those who are the young people who are going to, keep the world leaders on toes. And we are going, what I can assure you is that this is just the first point of us creating change. And we are geared towards more impactful ways that we can do with the limited resources that we have. And we hope for the best. And yeah, thank you so much. That's what I can say. And feel at home. You can, I don't know how you're going to reach us. You can reach us through Youth for Just join. If you know any young person, even if you are overseas and you're an African, join us in the movement, and everyone on board, we can do this in anywhere you want. Thank you so much.
Maurice, you're a gent. Thank you. I can see everyone clapping around the Zoom, and really incredible work that you've done, and is just a great example of something I was going to touch upon at the end, that, you know, look what one person has created there, a community that has spanned across so many different countries in what is arguably the most beautiful continent for me, Africa, in the world, part of the cradle of civilization. So a real person of inspiration. There is on Swapcard a way that we can all connect, and you can share each other's details. So you know, if you want to connect with Maurice or anyone you've met across the weekend, get onto Swapcard and do that. It's a really brilliant way that we can all stay connected. Do that with me as well. One, because I want to be everybody's friend here, but also I think there's any way in which we can collaborate and we can work together. I think that's something I would really love to do. All right, team, we might overrun this session a bit, but do you know what? I'm going to take control and say it's okay, because we have got a Future Visions film I want to show you, and then a very, very special message from Sir David Attenborough. His film has launched globally, worldwide, A Life on Our Planet, which we will talk about. But there is a special message coming from him just for us on this call. So we really are finishing strong, and which is why it's okay to run over, because it's Sir David Attenborough. But before we get to that, let me bring you this Future Visions film. Now, I've been fortunate enough to see this, and it is a film that has been created for what the world may look like in the future. I think it's a vision that we all share. It's a world that we all want. It can feel like, can the world that we are all working towards actually become a reality when you look around and think that, well, legislation isn't in place, politicians, decision makers don't seem to put the wealth of our planet and our future at the top of what they do. So you think, can it be done? Well, actually, hopefully this film will show you that, yes, it can be done. If the work that we are all doing now individually and also collectively carries on and becomes even more amplified and grows even louder, then I think this is a world that we could all end up living in the years to come. And it also features Kate Tempest. For those who might not know, Kate Tempest is a fantastic poet and songwriter. She is, they're from the UK, and they have done incredible work across the years, really very powerful, moving songs and poems that really kind of hold up a mirror to the world that we live in. So it feels like a really perfect person to have given us their lyrics across this beautiful film. So without further ado, this is A Vision for Our Future with Kate Tempest. Enjoy.
Once upon a time, in a town much like your town, on a road much like your road, where the people lived and worked and passed their days much like the people that you know, there was a feeling in the air of dread. It was thick and dark, and it got into the mouths and eyes and lungs. Our mother is dying, said the dread. But wait, once upon a time, the story changed. It was not dread that tugged the people's sleeves, but possibility. The skies cleared over the city, and the sun came through in a blast of golden light, and we saw that we were standing on the crest of a mighty hill. Our view was panoramic, and we could see. This endless exploitation does not make us happy. This violent inequality destroys everybody's freedom. We know what mining does. We know what deforestation does. We know what plastic in the ocean does. We know what humans need. We know what nature needs. We could live differently. We could consider our minuteness in the natural scheme of things. We could fuel our lives in ways that are not harmful. We could build our cities so they are sustainable. We could encourage nature, not just to survive, but to flourish. If we made that our priority, the animals would begin to multiply. The oceans would recover. The people would remember how to feel simple things. It'll never work, said exhaustion. Money makes the world go round, said dissatisfaction. If it doesn't turn a profit, it's never gonna happen, said shame. Grow up, said fear. Put up, said fear. Shut up, said fear. Isn't this the very reason we were born into this age, said courage? To make the huge transition that the age demands. Isn't that the weight you feel? The weight of changing ages? Why are you so afraid, said resolution? This is the only way, said love. Even as the cities roared, the children could be heard above the noise of the machines. I want to live in a world where I can breathe the air and drink the water, they said. I don't want the sea to boil or the forests to burn. I want to look at the rising sun with ancient wonder. I want to live in a world where the weather patterns are not deadly, where animals roam wild and are not just farmed for meat, where people have enough. I want to be a human being, not an agent of consumption. I was not born to spend. I am more than the sum of my data. I want to honor our planet. I want to live on our planet. I want to live. The time had come for a brand new story. Once upon a time, we were gifted with a present that was heavy. It was now.
I didn't want to have to follow that. I think echoing what was going on in the chat, real goosebumps for me watching that film. And I think it's very moving, because it just goes to show that future really is attainable. And using that final word there that really caught me off guard watching that film again. That Kay said there, it's time to write a new story. We are writing that story. And I believe that actually this could be this opening chapter for that story. This weekend has been that opening chapter. And now it's down to us to go and write the next chapters and make sure that that does become a reality. And what's, I think, made it more poignant actually watching it is watching it with all you guys on this chat around the world, because I do firmly believe are going to be the ones that can create that. We have to as well at the end of the day. But I think that's why that really did resonate, because it added a new layer to the film, actually being able to watch it with people that could make that dream become a reality. And a massive thank you to Kay as well. That was actually the world premiere as well. So we've had a real treat there. So thank you to the team that have been able to get that and put that together for us. And there isn't a more deserving audience than all you brilliant people on this group today. So thank you to Kay and thank you to the people that made that film. And we can all, I'm going to be sharing that anyway on the other side of that. Okay, breathe. Next moment on this fantastic kind of closing session comes from a hero of mine, I'm sure a hero for lots of us on this chat, a man who for me really has single-handedly driven the conversation around the climate crisis and has given a voice to nature like no other person has. I'm aware while I'm saying this, there might be people possibly, over in different parts of the world that maybe haven't had the pleasure of enjoying the great Sir David Attenborough's films and stories, but I'm sure he is someone that you will all recognize. Sir David Attenborough has a brand new film that has launched worldwide on Netflix today. So we are all going to be able to see it no matter where we are. It's the power of Netflix. And the film is described as his witness statement. It's his legacy film, having had a career and a life that has spanned over 90 years, but a career in broadcasting in the natural world for well over 60 years. He really has seen the transformation of our natural world. To put it into context, the population of the planet from when he was in his 20s to where he is at now has tripled. So he really has seen the growth which has happened at an exponential rate of us as a human species, but also then through that, as we know, given that we are the main driving force behind the climate crisis, the change that has occurred. Not only that, he's seen us go through different ages and times, the biggest boom being the technological age and the age of consumerism. This film is like you've never seen Sir David before. It's honest, it's raw, it's inspiring, but it also is deeply sad and moving, because it really does paint the picture of where we are at now. And as we all know, that's not a happy picture. It's quite a sad picture. But at the end, you do leave the film going that actually the tools that we need to create the change are out there. The technology we need is out there. The science is out there. And if we all start leaning into these things and actually start really taking this seriously, and when I say this, I know I'm not saying this to you, I'm actually saying this to the wider world, that we can create that change. So it really is a very special film, and I implore you all, if you've not had a chance to see it at the cinema, because I know there were special screenings happening, go and watch it tonight. I think you've all had invites as well to maybe a special Q&A that's happening, and I think it'll just be the perfect way to round off this weekend. So without further ado, I'm going to stop speaking. I'm going to have to speak after Sir David Attenborough, which no one wants to do, but I'll give it a go. But without further ado, here is the man, the legend, the hero that is Sir David Attenborough, with a very special message to all you change makers.
Just checking, people aren't waiting for me to play this, are they? I don't have this, sorry.
I've got it.
I don't know anything about this.
I've got it.
If there had been a moment where they went, the film hasn't arrived, that would have been the worst. Here we go. Here is Sir David.
One moment, I'm just going to double check it's the correct.
No, he's not. We'll go third time lucky. Everyone, it gives us time
Sorry, everyone.
to calm before the storm. It's okay.
My name is David Attenborough, and I am 94 years old.
Emma, would you mind just pausing it, playing it a couple of times through on your browser, and then what we're going to do, sorry, David, we're going to just carry on using the chat just to say, you know, a bit more about if, you know, there's one thing about David Attenborough we really want, just so that the film runs really smoothly, because it's really important we get this over.
That's fine. I'll take, because I was going to talk about afterwards, but actually I'll do this before while the film is loading. So one of the things that we were working up when we wanted to do this Changemakers Convention, and this goes to us all here, is that you might have seen in your delegate packs that have been set, that we are asking you all, if you can, to host a very special screening of the film. So of course, given the world and where it's at, it's tough for us all to kind of get together and maybe do one screening in a space, but a digital screening, which could be as simple as you get a group of your friends together, you're all on maybe a little WhatsApp group, and you all have the film set to play on Netflix at the same time, and you can sit and enjoy it together while on Zoom. Or it doesn't have to be friends, you know, if there are people that you work with, or that that you've kind of collaborated with and actually think this would be a great thing for us to share together, then do that. Or maybe you want to invite people that maybe necessarily haven't come quite round to the conversation around the climate crisis. If there is ever a film that is going to bring them round to it, this is it. So all the information on how you can host a digital screening is in those delegate packs, but it's a film, as I say, that is really very thought-provoking, and actually will have you wanting to have conversations off the back of it, wanting to ask questions and wanting to get answers. So we feel, and I felt as well, I'm going to be doing the same here, is it'd be a great way to bring people into the conversation, watch the film, and then the conversations that come off the back of it, I think, will be really special. And that is the power of a good film. And not only is it a good film, it's one man's witness statement on our planet, and he's seen things that sadly we will never see because they don't exist anymore. That's how quickly it's happened. So if there was ever the perfect man and the perfect voice to drive this conversation, this would be it. So I think it should be all in those delegate packs. But remember as well, if you do have any other questions, just talk to one of the members of the team, and use that hashtag as well. A Netflix party, Samantha, in Indonesia. What more do you want? Do you know what I mean? That is exactly do you know what? Call it a Netflix party. Call it a Sir David Attenborough party. It's always a good way to get people invited and wanting to come along. Annabelle's just put it on there for all the information on hosted screening. You can see your toolkit, delegate pack, or go to that website right there. So thank you, Annabelle. How are we looking on the film? We set? Looking to Kat.
We are set. It is buffered, but apologies if the playback quality isn't great. But we'll see how we go, and flag to me if you can't see or hear anything.
My name is David Attenborough, and I am 94 years old. When I was a boy, the world was much wilder than it is today. I worry about the legacy that my generation is passing on to yours. The destruction of nature that I've witnessed in my lifetime is starting to erode all the things we rely upon for society to function. Clean air, water, food, and a stable climate. When you look at the scale
Emma, I think you might have muted yourself, so we've got no sound now.
listen.
We'll go again, just so you get the full impact.
My
We'll have a
name
bit of a David Encore.
and I am 94 years old. When I was a boy, the world was much wilder than it is today. I worry about the legacy that my generation is passing on to yours. The destruction of nature that I've witnessed in my lifetime is starting to erode all the things we rely upon for society to function. Clean air, water, food, and a stable climate. When you look at the scale of the problems that we face, it's easy to become downhearted. But do you know what gives me the greatest hope? It's you, young people. Your actions are already making people sit up and listen. And the choices you make now and in the future are key to putting us back on the path to recovery. Start today in your community, your school, your home. Together, we can create a wilder world. Just imagine that.
Here he is, the man, the legend. Just imagine that. Seems like the perfect place to close this closing session on. And 3 minutes late, that's not too bad. I can imagine that. And not only that, I can imagine it more after this incredible weekend. I won't chat on too much because I feel Sir David has said it all itself, but just a couple of thank yous. And before I get to that, host that party. Host that party, if not for me, for Sir David. And are you really going to say no to Sir David? That's the question you've all got to ask yourself. First of all, there has been a whole host of people behind the scenes that have made this convention happen. And they've all had to adapt very quickly because, as you'll know, it was meant to happen in person and now it was this. And I think I particularly have been blown away at how this has all worked and the technology behind it, but that's not just happened overnight. So to all the people you might have seen, some of them are not on the chat, some of them are on the chat, just a massive thank you for creating the space for this to happen, for creating the space for these connections to take place, and for creating the space to change. It really has been an incredible weekend. So I don't know if we can all give a little round of applause to those that have made this happen, because this has been one of the best things I've been a part of. And finally, of course, thanking Sir David, but thank you to all you guys that have been involved. This convention wouldn't be a convention of change makers without the change makers, and you are all change makers. So for giving up your time, for giving us your passion, your commitment, your words, your knowledge has been beyond inspiring and beyond just more than I could ever have imagined and asked for. I sent a message to some of the people that put it on last night saying, I knew it was going to be special, but I didn't know it was going to be this special. And it really has. But now we have to take this further. We've started here, as I say, we've wrote the introduction to this new story. Now we have to write that story, but we are writing it together. We may all be on our individual paths, but they are all going to meet at that final point some way further down the line. And I just want to say, which I say to everyone, you know, you do have the power. We live in a world that seems to make us think or forget that maybe we don't have the power to make the change that we want to be. But let me tell you, we do. And all you have to do is look across history to say that that's always been the case, whether that be Nelson Mandela, whether that be Emily Pankhurst with the suffragette movement, whether that be Greta Thunberg, who sat out of school on her own and then created what has been one of the largest global strikes of young people in history. It can be done. Has it been done by governments? Has it been done by decision makers, by companies, by institutions? No, it's been done by you, the people. And that is something that we should all hold on to and should drive us to go and make that change. People's ears and eyes are now open to the crisis. Now we need to take them that are kind of going, all right, it's happening, and say, now we need action, now we need change. So put pressure on those that can make that big change, to your politicians, to your governments, to your decision makers. But don't forget as well, it's just as important to inspire those around you in your local communities, because they're the ones that are going to come on board and that really are going to turn that one individual action into massive action. And with that, I think we will see the vision for the future that we are all working towards. You are all doing brilliant things. And as a person of this planet, you bring me hope and inspiration. And I say thank you for trying to change the course that we are currently on. You're going to create a future that I can be proud of, that we can all be proud of, and leave for generations to come. So enough from me. We've got one final networking session. It's a bit of a speed one, so we can all connect quickly. And let's keep this going. I'm going to be pushing that we try and do this maybe once a year. I'm looking at the team, they're going, maybe not. But no, if we could do this once a year and we can all come together, I think it could be really, really special. So as I say, if you want to get me on Instagram, I'm Kel Spellman. But if not, find my swap card. And I'd love to connect with you all, because I think I look around this room and I go, this really could bring about some massive seismic change. I've no doubt about that. When I see that this is not just one country in the UK, this is a global coming together of people. That's global change that can happen. So let's be that change and let's make it happen. Let's be kind to each other. Let's be open. Let's be patient, and let's spread the peace and love. It's always the best way to go. Guys, thank you all so much. And it's been a real privilege to share this with you all. We're going to change the world. We really are going to change the world, and we'll enjoy it together at some point further down the line. Peace and love, everyone. And thank you so much.